All right, so who's ready to untangle this whole process automation model thing? PAM, they call it.
PAM, yeah.
It sounds a bit,
Oh,
you know,
like a techie brain twister.
yeah, a little bit intimidating.
Right.
But the more I dig into it, the more I think, wow, this is kind of how we should be approaching collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instead of just diving in and hoping for the best, what if we actually designed how we work together?
Absolutely. That's the whole idea behind PAM. It gives us this framework, a structure to really think through those collaborative processes.
I'm curious to know, from your perspective, what's the biggest shift PAM brings to the table?
You know, it's funny. I think we often get so caught up in the individual tasks of a project.
Yeah, checking off those to-dos,
Right, exactly.
tunnel vision,
Totally. But PAM forces us to zoom out, to see the bigger picture.
the whole forest, not just the trees.
Exactly. It helps us see a project as this interconnected web of collaboration, not just a bunch of isolated to-dos.
Okay, so let's break down this web, this blueprint for collaboration.
Sure.
Where do we even begin?
Well, like any good blueprint, it starts with the foundation. And in PAM, that foundation is the process.
All right, so process. That's our starting point.
Yeah, think of it as a series of tasks, all geared towards a specific goal.
Makes sense.
But here's where things get interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
PAM doesn't just stop at listing tasks, it digs deeper into what they call flows.
Flows. So like the currents that move everything along.
Exactly. Think of it as outlining the sequence of steps, how those tasks are interconnected, how they, well, flow into each other.
So it's not just about what needs to be done, but also about how those actions flow together.
Precisely. It's like a choreography, each step leading to the next.
Okay, so we've got the process, the flows. What else makes up this blueprint?
Well, to make sure this intricate dance runs smoothly, we need to define the roles.
Right. Who's leading, who's following, who's doing the tango, who's doing the waltz.
Uh-huh, yeah, something like that. Each role clarifies who's responsible for what permissions they have within the process.
It's like a well-coordinated team where everyone knows their part and how it fits into the bigger picture.
You got it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the collaborative potential here.
Right.
But let's get specific because the source material mentions some interesting roles,
Oh, yeah. Like what?
like task maker, ideator, graph explorer,
Yeah.
even a query developer.
Ooh, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, it sounds less like a project team and more like a heist crew assembling.
I can see that.
So let's play this out. How would these roles actually interact within PAM?
Okay, let's imagine we're developing a new product, right? Our ideator could be the brainstorming guru, churning out concepts.
And those ideas become the outputs that flow into the next stage.
Right, so then our task maker steps in, takes those big ideas, and breaks them down into actionable steps.
Oh, and maybe our Graph Explorer is visually mapping out all these connections and dependencies like a digital architect.
Exactly. And their output, this visual map, becomes the input for the query developer, who might build a system to track progress, manage data flow.
See, this is where it gets really cool. It's like this intricate dance of information and action, all orchestrated by PAM.
It is fascinating how these roles, these outputs and inputs, create this chain reaction that moves the entire process forward.
And listeners, don't be shy. Jump in here. What wild and wonderful scenarios can you envision with these roles? Let your imaginations run wild.
I love that. It's all about thinking outside the box, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Okay, but here's where I get a bit stuck because the source material is, well, a bit quiet on certain aspects.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, it paints this picture of a perfectly organized process, but it doesn't really address the messiness of real-world collaboration.
The human factor.
Exactly. Like, what about miscommunications, conflicts, those moments where a decision needs to be made on the fly?
Right. Where does human judgment come into play?
And how do we ensure PAM doesn't just become this rigid set of rules, but actually enhances how we work together?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we strike that balance between structure and flexibility, between automation and human ingenuity?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would PAM need to evolve into to become a truly robust platform for collaboration?
Perhaps incorporating features for real-time communication, conflict resolution protocols, maybe even algorithms that assist with collaborative decision-making.
So it's like PAM gives us this fantastic framework, this digital orchestra conductor, to keep our workflows in sync.
I like that analogy, the conductor.
But the real magic happens when we weave in the human element, the improvisation, the ability to adapt and respond to the unexpected.
That's where things get truly interesting, that fusion of technology and human intelligence.
Imagine if PAM could actually learn from our collaborative interactions, constantly evolving and adapting to become a more intuitive and human-centered tool.
That would be incredible. A system that grows alongside our collaborative needs.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does the future of collaboration look like when we blend the power of technology with the ingenuity of the human mind? That's something worth pondering, for sure.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless when we embrace both the structured and the spontaneous aspects of collaboration.
Well, listeners, we've thrown a lot of ideas out there today,
Yeah.
but the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep innovating, and let's see what amazing things we can achieve together.
To collaboration.
Cheers to that.